Hello everyone and welcome back to Abundantly Minimal. It is no secret that right now financial times are tough, and with that it's been a while since I've talked about ways that we save money and prevent unnecessary consumerism on this channel, but I thought today was a good opportunity. Today I'm sharing 7 things that really help reduce excess shopping and not feel compelled to keep doing that, as well as different strategies that kind of add up and make a positive difference financially. So they're not in any particular order today, but I'm hopeful that at least one of these can be helpful for you. The first idea is reframing our concept of self-care from products that you purchase instead to time that you spend. So in general, if we think of the stereotypes of self-care or treating yourself, that probably is thinking of going out to the spa or buying spa type products, getting yourself that treat from, wherever. The idea is if I buy this thing, I will feel better. While that may work for people, that's definitely not positive for the budget, as well as it doesn't have to be that way. I think if we can reframe it so it's not about I need to go buy something, it's about me taking time for myself, especially in our busy lives, enjoying some uninterrupted time to be just with ourselves or doing what matters to us or is meaningful and calming to us is, I think, the secret. So it's not about going to buy that spa product. It's about saying, hey, I'm going to keep tonight open, relax, and I'm just going to use whatever spa related items I have, set up a bubble bath or set up whatever I already own, use it and feel good about it. It doesn't have to be what we purchase, it can be how we use the time. If I know that reading is going to make me feel good, then let's have some reading time using some tea or a beverage that I already have at home. Or let me use ingredients I already have and bake something fun if that's going to bring me joy. So if we can reframe it, it's not about buying products, it's about taking the time to slow down and indulge in something that is meaningful. If we can focus on that sort of self-care, you're less likely to be buying more stuff when, let's face it, you might already have stuff that you purchased previously that you can just use instead. Something that has also been really helpful for me to prevent impulse shopping especially is to have a Google Doc that I call the shopping shortlist. And essentially, if I'm thinking I might need to purchase something eventually or at some point it's an interest, I put it on the document. And it's not something I need to be impulsive on. It's important to plan ahead. Sometimes I'm planning months or even a year ahead if it's a much bigger purchase. The idea is taking time to carefully plan if it's a more serious purchase, to research and just not rush into anything. Chances are we don't actually need the item, or at the very least, we don't need it right away. So knowing that it's on the list, I don't have to worry about forgetting about it, but then I can consult that list periodically and make sure, is this still something that I need to do? It's also a great way for both myself and my husband Jake to be able to both contribute to the list, and then periodically we'll reflect about how our needs have changed or what the budget's looking like and make informed choices rather than impulsive ones. When we plan ahead, we are so much less likely to overspend. So that would be a game changer to just keep track of as you go, preventing those impulse purchases. This next tip's a very specific example with media viewing. Jake and I, we don't watch a lot of TV. One of our favorite shows, The Amazing Race, has recently been on, and I had heard my parents talk a lot about getting an antenna in the past that can connect for local channels, but I was ill-informed for a while. I thought it was something you had to hook up on a roof or in an attic or something more challenging, and in our past apartments I just didn't know what that would be. But honestly, we got one, and all you have to do is just set it on a table or something that's near your TV or a media stand. We don't have one at the moment, so we just bring over a C table before the show. You just hook it into the back of the TV, and then it was like $20, and it picks up channels. I think the range, it's from up to 200 miles away. I do not know if this would apply to other countries as well, but at the very least, It's been great to get local channels without needing to pay for an expensive subscription, or to even just pay all these different monthly costs for different streaming services. So we've been using that as a great option, and we look forward to using that in the future so we don't need to be paying as much to different TV providers. So definitely look into it if you are still paying for different channels. Now let's talk about food waste. We've all done it before. You intend to eat something and unfortunately do not get around to it. And then you're either throwing away or composting it or whatever you do. And something that, we have to have a reality check with ourselves. If we are throwing something away or disposing of it, we didn't need it, and it's happening multiple times, you need to ban yourself from buying that, or at least that ingredient in the same way. So if there is a fresh produce item that you're continuously not going through, then we need to purchase that item in a different way or not purchase it at all. So I know for myself, if there was, let's say some veggies or fruits that are going bad, I need to shift my focus and instead be buying frozen produce. I can still get fruits and veggies, maybe a different one, but it's not going to go bad, and I can keep it on hand for a lot longer. If I forget about it for a little bit, that is okay. I really do rely on the freezer a lot, especially if there's items, let's say I open up a can of beans and we don't eat all of it at that one sitting. Don't just leave them in the fridge. If that's going to be something you forget about, just freeze what's left or take whatever precautions so you don't let it go bad. Basically, making yourself have to earn it if you want to keep purchasing those. And honestly, I think that can be very helpful to shift more items to frozen than before, even if it is a slightly different ingredient, making sure that we're very intentional and not just rebuying the same stuff that keeps going bad. Maybe leafy greens are an issue for others. We have a pet rabbit now, so this is not an issue, but in the past, there were times where the greens went bad. Maybe you shift to buying frozen greens because you can buy like bags of frozen spinach, for instance, and that works really well in smoothies and certain dishes. So just play around, see what mistakes you're making, and then make an informed choice to not do that again and stop throwing money away. Sort of along the idea of if you've earned something, let's talk about subscriptions. Now, subscriptions are an easy one. Videos talk about like, don't do subscriptions or be careful. My formula, if there is a free trial, is always to make a note on my calendar like a day before it's set to expire so I know or set a reminder to cancel it in time. Some subscriptions you can even cancel like right after you sign up and they'll keep letting you use it during the free trial. But I've honestly had to shift away from annual subscriptions, even if they say that the annual subscription is way cheaper, like even if it's half the price. I have found there are several instances where I purchased an annual subscription and then after a month or two I did not continue using it like I should. I also am very motivated by deadlines, so if there is a free trial for something, I am more motivated to use it, the item, or use whatever subscription, the couple days before the trial ends than I am the first part of the subscription. Long story short, I would recommend sticking with a monthly subscription rate if you want the subscription, but you're not sure how much you're going to use it. Sure, you might pay a higher percentage up front, but then you could cancel it if you are not getting full value out of it. And the caveat I would say is schedule like a check-in for yourself like every 2 weeks to make sure you're using the subscription and that it's still adding value so you can cancel it in a timely fashion. Just, we don't want to be taken advantage of, and these subscriptions, if they're just set to auto renew, it could really get away from us and waste a lot of money. So just be more mindful. For me, there was like a workout subscription and a meal planning subscription were two where I paid for a year and should have just done, a couple months. I would have realized, hey, this is actually not the right time for this. So we live and learn, but that's my lesson to you. Another great tip that can apply to any sort of shopping would be to shop your space first. You can view your space as a store. There's already a lot of good stuff here. There's a lot of clothing you can check out and try on. There's a lot of different food ingredients, gadgets you can already use or appliances. There is so much in our space that we can start with before we go shopping. We're not just going out there for entertainment. Let's shop in our spaces first to make sure we're not buying something we already have and making sure we're getting good use out of our items. I think that's the goal at the end of the day, feeling satisfied with what we have and being aware of what we have so we can use it when a certain need arises. Plus, we can have fun rediscovering different items from our space and putting different things to the test that maybe we forgot about. Best part, then you're spending $0. And as a bonus tip, you can also, exchange different things you already have with friends, family, neighbors, whoever it is, if you want something else or if they're looking for some of your items and you don't plan on using them. That's a great way to tap into your local community instead of just needing to go buy everything yourself. And then the last tip I do find quite effective and probably something you can do for most type of shopping, and that is to vilify big brands. Now, in this late stage capitalist society that we live in, unfortunately, there is just a lot of icky stuff happening with many big brands. I'm not talking about small businesses. I'm all about supporting small businesses. But if you find yourself returning to big brands, big corporations, do a quick search what they've been up to. Look if there's lawsuits, look if there are issues, and check out their labor practices, their sourcing, union busting if they've been doing that, environmental issues, social justice issues. You really can find a lot of bad stuff about many of the biggest brands that are popularly used. And I know for myself, the guilt and not wanting to support unethical companies is definitely a great deterrent for me to not shop with a certain location. I know, for instance, in the fast fashion world, I've never once gone to, there's like the Shein website and Temu, the gross websites like that. I've never even visited once, and I'm never going to consider it. And certainly there's a lot of reasons to limit or prevent consumption from many other very popular retailers as well. Of course, that will vary based on where people live, but the idea is let's limit our dollars going to these giant companies or corporations and instead either save those dollars for our own needs like our emergency funds or just everyday bills, or if you are going to spend the money and still do have things you need to buy, if we can shift that to smaller businesses where our dollars can make a lot more of an impact and just not make certain people super, super wealthy. So that does help a lot. If you just do a quick search for a company you're thinking about buying, read about the bad stuff, and then be like, yeah, you know what? I don't really want to support that right now. And let me look elsewhere or be a little bit more content with what I already have. So those are some tips. I know some of them are a little maybe unconventional, but it can make a huge difference, especially in these different tough financial times. So I hope that was helpful today. I have some other videos here that I'll put on screen if you want to check them out. And if you're new around here, you can subscribe to the channel up here. I'll see you next time.